So Pacific Cigar Company more and more has been catching my eye as a really high-class distributor of Habanos. You know me, usually I go on and on about Hunters and Francow and Regional Edition UK and how amazing their presentation and everything is. And over the last couple of years, looking at some of the regional editions that have been coming out for Asia Pacific regions, Pacific Cigar Company has been doing an amazing job. And I think this jar, commemorating their 20th anniversary, is really a punch into the realm of, you know, telling people, hey, look, we are really not only a legitimate distributor, but one that goes above and beyond in terms of presentation and quality, which is always a huge thing regarding Cuban cigars. This jar here has the official seal, which is a sticker that should come on anything distributed by Pacific Cigar Company, also known as PCC. Over here you'll see a little sticker 165. That should match the number on the bottom of the jar as far as what number it is out of the amount made. I believe it was 2,000 in this case. No. It was less. Well, we'll find out when we open it. I think it was 1,000 something. I can't entirely remember. Anyway, Pacific Cigar Company was formed in 1992 by Sir David Tang. Yes, he was knighted. He is a Chinese businessman and socialite who is well known. He started a fashion chain at some point. I'm not into fashion, obviously, so I don't really follow that kind of stuff. But he got famous for developing this fashion chain, which was later bought out by another company. And in 1992, he decided to get into Habanos. He probably, I don't know his life history. I assume he was probably, you know, a Cuban cigar aficionado or something of that means. Whether he or not, he decided to get into the whole thing and developed Pacific Cigar Company, which at this point owns 54 different retail vendors, distribution units, etc., all over the Pacific Asian region, which includes Australia, New Zealand, Thailand, Taiwan, Hong Kong, and a lot of those other countries around there. It does not include China mainland. That is, and I don't know if they're the only distributor, but I do know they're one, Infifon, which was in charge of distributing the Bolivar China jar when that came out. I was for a while under the impression that, oh, that was distributed by Pacific Cigar Company, but then I remembered in my own video on the thing I said Infifon, and yeah, that was Infifon. So this is really the first jar release by Pacific Cigar Company. And the cigars contained within represent some of their most popular selling, most widely distributed cigars, the global brands, your Cohiba Robustos, your Partagas D4s, your Hoya de Monterrey Epicure 2s, and some of their more special regional edition cigars, your Por Larrañaga or Robustos de Larrañaga, which are actually 2007 cigars, so that's kind of nice. You get a couple of, well, 4 7-year-old cigars with this thing. And then the Quai d'Orsay Superiores, which is a 2011 release. So those are a few years old. Nonetheless, you get a bunch of very high quality cigars. The smell was amazing. And right away when I took them out of the bag, and I'm looking at them. I notice all the wrappers are very dark, very similar shade, but if you look closely, the texture on those wrappers differs, you know, from cigar to cigar. One of the most notable things I realized was that, you know, you hear a lot, Cohiba has a very unique aroma. Even within the realm of, you know, Cuban cigars have a unique aroma. And when I separated them and waited a few minutes and I'm smelling my D4s and my Epicures, everything smelled different. Although they all had that distinct, yes, I'm a Cuban cigar note, the Epicures had a sweeter profile. The Cohibas had this really distinct sour type note that smelled great, mixed in with the rest of that Cuban cigar smell. But even being bundled together the way they were, after a few minutes of just sitting out and going to each one, totally different smell, aromas, really, really cool. So we're going to get into this jar now. We're going to open her up. And like I said before, this is a really special unit to me because it was even harder to get for me than the La Excepcion jar that we just did recently. They only made 200 of those. And those are still available on several sites, mostly in the UK. I guess those are the guys who bought them all up. And they're being sold for egregious prices, which is probably why they're still around. These, on the other hand, celebrate the 20th anniversary, so 1992, that's 2012. Now, I know for a fact in 2012, I didn't see these anywhere. I didn't see this online until on one site that I stumbled across, actually when I was searching for the La Excepcion jar, I stumbled across a site and it was basically like not for sale, just like a private gallery thing, and I said, what the fuck is that? And I came to learn of the Pacific Cigar jar. After that, I did see it available on one site for $1,700, and it was bought out from under me, which at this point, I am very, very, very glad it was. Of course, I was depressed and heartbroken at first, but I got this for a song and a dance from Finest Cuban Cigars. Basically, I put two and two together. This is where it pays off when I tell you guys, know your vendors, don't bounce around, choose a couple and get to know them and use them. Find a few that you're satisfied with, 2, maybe 3, and go for it and get to know the people and everything. When I talk to Finest Cuban Cigars, I know that they're based out of Hong Kong, and I know that they do deal, while they don't have a huge selection, they do deal in regional edition cigars from the Asian Pacific region. So I emailed them and said, look, here's what I'm looking for, and I'm having no luck with this. And long story short, they got back to me and said, yeah, we can get you one. You know, not only did they get me one, but they got me one for an unbelievable price. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. And this is where it comes into play, me talking about how there are a lot of vendors out there taking advantage and blowing up prices out of proportion. I mean, they wanted $1,700 for this jar from the site that had it available. And somebody bought it, because I almost bought it and then it was gone. $1,700 for a jar that contains, think about it, beautiful jar, does have an ashtray too. Ashtrays, we're going to see in a minute, of this quality can go for several hundred. LE Blue ashtrays go for $400 or $500 a pop, and those are little ones, you know. So it depends. But you're talking about 4 Cohiba Robustos, 4 D4s, 4 Epicure 2s, a bunch of standard cigars, and then a few regional editions thrown in that you can still find. I don't know about the Robustos de Larrañaga, but the Q12 Superiores you can still find here and there. Very good cigar, by the way. That's not $1,700 worth of product right there. That's crazy. So I got this from Finest Cuban Cigars. It was a favor. They do not carry the product. One of the things was that you know, they couldn't really guarantee everything as far as shipping with this like they usually do on my items, because, you know, they're doing me a favor. They were buying it directly from the company and getting it to me, so it was a big favor, and it really did work out great. So, enough of my chitter chatter. We're going to take this jar out a little piece at a time. You know, this is gorgeous. This is gorgeous. Wait till you see this thing. This may be one of the most beautiful jars in existence. Let me get something to pick this up with here. And there she is. The next jar to the collection. This is a beauty, I gotta say. It's small, it's elegant. You know, when I first saw the pictures, I started thinking, well, maybe it's a little overdone, maybe it's a little gaudy, but I gotta say that the way they've done the detail is just great. Gold dragons, silver clouds in that kind of Chinese artwork style. Really, really, really cool. I love the fact that the jar is representative of 5 different brands. 1, 2, 3 of which don't have any jars at all, barring Cohiba and Partagas. So that's very cool. My favorite thing about this jar I'll show you in a minute, but I'll also say that the quality of this jar is very different from 9 out of 10 on the market. Most of the jars out there are this really thick, heavy, clunky ceramic. This is very, 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 very elegant porcelain, very thin, very fragile, probably more breakable, but it does make everything more beautiful. It's just such a milky, smooth finish. Looking at the design, I'm almost certain that the same people who designed the Bolivar China jar, also made of this material, designed this jar, especially because of the knob top, exactly the same as the Bolivar China jar. So it comes with, I mean, they went all out on presentation. I mean, first of all, they wrapped every bundle of cigars in their own thing with their own sticker. You got this cedar with your big ribbon thing. I mean, it's really becoming Americanized the way they're doing this presentation stuff. Ribbon, gold all over it, 20th anniversary, whatnot. Comes with a little slip. Thank you for purchasing the Pacific Cigar 20th anniversary jar. This beautiful jar of bone china with dragon motifs contains the world's best Habanos for your smoking enjoyment. The cigars are Cohiba Robusto, Partagas Serie D4, Hoya de Monterrey Epicure No. 2, 2007 Regional Edition Por Larrañaga Robustos de Larrañaga, and 2011 Regional Edition Que Dorsey Superiores. Each jar is numbered and has a matching numbered bone china ashtray to complement your acquisition. Light up and enjoy these great smokes. Keep on smoking is their way of saying keep on smoking. Very, very cool, which makes me think this must be one hell of an ashtray. Like I said, the package is much heavier, and I do want to get to that. But before we do, how about a few close-ups of our newest acquisition? Okay, and there it is. Just finished taking a few pictures for your enjoyment, and got the jar all packed up nicely. Cigars fit in without a hitch. And I believe that that's the way it makes sense. I mean, even though you can't see the writing on the ribbon anymore, it is attached to the bottom cedar, which allows you to grab either ribbon and kind of pull the whole thing up to see what you're going for. Other than that, I'm going to cap it up and take a few pictures of the thing as a whole and show you that, and show you the feature I really like the most. This lid, by the way, has an exceptional seal. Very, very good seal. It comes with, of course, as usual, your little humidification unit that I choose to never use. It does fit in there nicely and everything, but this provides perfect room for a nice 69 Boveda pack, which will last many months in a sealed jar environment like this. So, let's seal it up and take a look at the thing in its entirety, and then we'll move on over to the ashtray. Just to show you, usually they have a rubber thing that comes in a slant all the way around. You push it in and it creates a kind of seal, especially when you pull back up, it grabs and stops air. This is different. It's got a second ring all the way around, and it creates an unbelievable stop. There you go. Yeah, it's lifting the whole jar up. I'm not going to lift it further than that, but as you can see, very good seal. Very good seal. All right, let's see what we got. So there it is, the jar all done up very nicely. Really like the cap with the 5 logos. That's really cool. Very, very cool. That's my favorite part right there, the dragon scale finish that goes around the lip of the top. That's really cool, the way they got that to work. 20th anniversary since 1992. You can see the gold dragon, silver clouds. Really nice motif. This will blend in very nicely to the collection as a whole. Very, very cool. So a little further detail from the side there. Really like the way they got that silver to work. Very cool. Let's see the ashtray, shall we? Say goodnight, Max.